There's an old piece of folklore that Macbeth, one of Shakespeare's most famous plays, was cursed by a group of witches because Shakespeare had the audacity to use actual spells in it. This piece of folklore has been further highlighted because of many historical instances which, if you believe in curses, would really make you wonder. In fact, during rehearsals of the very first performance of Macbeth, directed by William Shakespeare himself, the actor that was playing Lady Macbeth died suddenly and had to be replaced. In the 4 centuries since then, there have been numerous other incidents, including 2 riots that resulted in multiple deaths, an actor playing King Duncan being stabbed on stage when a prop dagger was replaced by a real one, and an actor in 1947 dying when a stage fight got a little too realistic. All these incidents have led to the belief that if an actor or member of the crew of any other play ever uses the word Macbeth, doom is sure to follow, unless the person runs outside, spins around in a circle 3 times, and spits while reciting a line from Shakespeare. So, if you ever see someone outside your local theater looking a little dizzy, now you know why. Even aside from the folklore surrounding the supposed curse on the play, Macbeth is one of the most famous plays in history, and not because it's a tame, feel-good story. There's an awful lot of bloodshed and evil in it. A whole bunch of people get murdered, including a little boy. There's witchcraft and swordplay. There's imagery about babies getting smashed on the ground. And to top it all off, there's a beheading at the end. It's not exactly a bedtime story you want to be telling your little brother. Unless, of course, you want to give him nightmares. But if it's so cursed and so violent and so full of witchcraft, why is it still so famous? For generations, Macbeth has confronted its audience with truths about the human condition in a way that few other works of literature have. It's a play about ambition and the extent to which people will go to seize power and fulfill their desires. It's a play about conspiracies and cover-ups and the power of conscience. It's a play about madness and guilt and paranoia. It's a play about the worst sides of humanity. And you get to read it. Before diving in though, it's a good idea to know the plot because Shakespeare can be hard to follow, but if you know where the play is going, the language becomes easier to decode. So, spoiler alert, here's a summary of what happens in Macbeth. The play opens with Duncan, King of Scotland, being told about a battle in which Macbeth has acted heroically. King Duncan is so impressed with this that he gives Macbeth the title of Thane of Cawdor. Macbeth is still on his way back from battle, so he doesn't hear about this new title. When we first meet him, along with his war buddy Banquo, they encounter 3 witches. These witches tell Macbeth that he will be Thane of Cawdor and King of Scotland. They also tell Banquo that he won't be king, but that his sons will be. Macbeth tells his wife, Lady Macbeth, all about this in a letter, and they plot together to kill King Duncan and take the throne. Macbeth stabs Duncan with a dagger, and soon after is crowned King of Scotland. Macbeth is racked with guilt about the murder, and he begins to go off the rails a little. He's concerned that Banquo suspects he killed Duncan, and that Banquo's sons will be kings instead of his own. So, Macbeth hires murderers to kill Banquo too, and then goes after Banquo's son, Fleance. Banquo dies, but Fleance manages to escape. But even though Banquo is dead, he's not quite ready to leave this alone. So he haunts Macbeth as a ghost, sending Macbeth even farther off the rails. Macbeth visits the witches again for assurance, but they just tell him to watch out for Macduff. So Macbeth gets Macduff's family killed too. Then, Lady Macbeth starts to have her own mental health episodes, sleepwalking while trying to wash blood out of her hands, but she can't get the spots out. Macduff gets an army together, including Duncan's sons, and they come after Macbeth, and without giving away too much about the end, let's just say that Macbeth has a lot less of a burden on his shoulders at the end of the play than he does in the middle, and we're not talking about guilt. So yes, Macbeth is a quintessential Shakespearean tragedy, because as is the case with all Shakespearean tragedies, a lot of people end up dying. But the dying isn't the point. The point is, Shakespeare was bringing up important ideas that have had people thinking and talking for over 400 years. What are the dangers of ambition and power? What does guilt do to our state of mind? In what ways do we all try to cover up our evil deeds with more evil deeds? What is the nature of fate or prophecy or predestination? Are our lives planned out for us so that we merely live them out with the illusion of freedom? Or do we have the ability to make choices about our paths? So, whether the play is cursed or not, it's a story that reveals much about the human condition. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go outside and spit.